But we're coming to y'all just from the end of the UFC Vegas 107 fight card featuring what was supposed to be a women's flyweight main event between Macy Barber and Erin Blanchfiled. That I got, I gotta say it gave serious TJ Dillashaw vibes from his fight, his last fight before he retired
with Aljo.
Yeah, with Aljo, where shoulder. He was super injured, and it was clear everybody knew it going in, but just was not talking about it to try and like get him in there and make the fight happen. And the way that everybody was talking about Macy Barber when they pulled her off the card with like 3 minutes before the fight was about to start was very much like, oh yeah, we all knew that she was in really bad health all week and probably couldn't fight tonight, but we made the fight anyway, and we just assumed it would be okay.
Sure. I think did you catch the Blanchfiled interview?
Yeah, where she said that she had a seizure.
Yeah, that's like holy shit. I'm glad they didn't push her out there.
Yeah, no, I mean it's probably the kind of thing where they probably should have canceled the fight when she missed weight, and they just were like, no, we'll hold it together. It's all fine. It's all good. And then,
well, isn't it the stipulation that if you buy tickets to the fight and the main event cancels, you get your money back?
Oh, so yeah.
Maybe they kept it going so they wouldn't have to do that. There might be a loophole.
But the Apex, you're only selling 50 tickets anyway, so
they're expensive.
They are expensive. As somebody else noticed here, tickets are crazy expensive these days. Imagine paying hundreds of dollars and then the main event being canceled. I hope refunds are provided for these fans, or the fans sue. No, I don't think anybody's getting a refund. Once you walk in the door to an event, that would be the loophole. Like that, I think once you walk in the door and like take your seat, you've basically agreed to whatever show they put on.
Man, I also feel bad for Ludovic Klein a little bit, because had he been in a 5-rounder, that might have gone a little bit different.
Yeah.
He would have at least had 2 more rounds to fight a tired Gamrot.
Yeah, Gamrot definitely fought that like a 3-round fight. He came out and
I loved his performance.
Yeah, this being our de facto main event, Gamrot came out there, clearly locked Klein down for a couple of rounds, and you could even see at the end of round 2, he was on the back foot, just kind of circling away. He's already in the mode of like, I got 2 rounds down. All I need to do is not work, not blow up in round 3, not implode.
Mm-hmm.
And he even still won that round. Like he still, once he got in on a chance to get a takedown, he beat Klein up.
So. I think it's good he even stood there for as long as he did in the third.
Yeah.
But like, this is the kind of grappling I like to see. It's like he's not just laying on you. Like, he is trying to improve position. Any chance he gets, he's trying to rough you up, throwing elbows, knees to the body, standing on the fucking calf. Like, just standing on it. Like that's the brutal kind of things I like to see when guys are grappling.
Yeah.
Not just that Mario Bautista.
Oh, yeah, here it is.
I can't wait to skip that fight. And it's kind of shitty because I love me some Patchy Mix,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, am I really going to skip it? Still going to skip it out of principle. But damn.
Wait, what are you you're skipping the entire the Mario Batista Patchy Mix? Yeah,
I'm not gonna watch it.
Yeah,
I might watch it after the fact if something cool happens.
Okay, you'll peek at it. You'll be like doing the between your hands kind of thing.
Exactly.
Oh, All right. So yeah, I mean, otherwise, solid performance from Gamrot. We got somebody in here mentioning that they probably do Aaron versus Natalia Silva while Val and Wele do the super fight. I get the feeling we're probably more likely to see Natalia Silva just get a title shot and Wele fight Verna Jandiroba, but because I don't know necessarily that, like, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of momentum to Val versus Wele. You'd expect that fight to be like the UFC to be pushing it. You'd expect both women to really be pushing for that fight, but you're not really hearing anything, to the point that they even had Valentina Shevchenko sitting cage side for this. Like,
No, true. Yeah. I don't know what's going on in that division.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Jasmine Jasdavicius, though, that might be cool. She's on a tear.
She's the dark horse. No question. But yeah, otherwise solid performance from Gamrot. Klein, I mean, this kind of showed what credit to him for showing up in round 3 and still going after Gamrot and having the energy to do it. But this also did kind of show that, like, this big unbeaten streak Klein has been on, it's a bit of...
There's levels to this game. And he was fighting at a lower level, and this was a massive opportunity, massive step up. And, Gamrot is a solid, top 10 UFC fighter.
Yep.
So
it was a very, very, what we saw, in this was very much what it takes to be at the elite level is a real process-driven game plan. Mateusz Gamrot goes out there. He has a very distinct idea of what kind of fight he wants to have, how he's going to get to it, how he's going to maintain it, and he's ready to do that every round. And Klein, he had to find his fight as the fight went on. He had to realize, like, oh, I have to really pressure Mateusz Gamrot. If I do that, his defense falls apart. But he had to figure that out as the fight went on, and only could really get there late. And you gotta, when you get to that level, you have to be a lot more aggressive and assertive than that. So just kind of and definitely one of those levels performances.
And you got to be able to compete in the scrambles a little bit better than he was doing. He got completely outclassed in the grappling. And Gamrot's like one of the best. But still, I mean, you look at some of the other guys that fought him in the division. Hooker was able to get up. Dariush, like, pantsed him, to speak, in the grappling. So that's a glaring hole in Klein's game. But he's fun. I like watching him. This is just a bad stylistic matchup, a bad step up in competition. But it wasn't a horrible loss to where...
No, it made sense for him to get this opportunity. It just showed up the way you would think. And you could take a step back, fight some of the other guys in around the top 15. I mean, let me see. UFC rankings, wiki, take a look at who else is up there now, because I've forgotten. I'm like, you could have him take a step back and fight like Benoit Saint-Denis, somebody like that.
Well, that's who Gamrot called out.
Oh, was it?
They were talking about him headlining the France card against him in September.
Well, there you go. Otherwise, you could do like Klein versus Alvarez or Klein versus Dawson or something like that,
Sure.
Other fighters right around that same, like, edge of the top 15 level. So, opportunities for Klein. Yeah, I mean, if Gamrot wants to keep fighting down the division and fight Saint-Denis, like, that's an awesome fight. If I was Gamrot, I'd be aiming for Paddy Pimblett, trying to
he called him out too. He called him out also. But let's be honest,
he's not likely to get it. Yeah.
Hell no.
No. All right. Otherwise, Ramiz Brahimai, the biggest underdog on the card for reasons I cannot fathom. I picked Goff going in, but I picked him in this idea of, like, okay, Brahimai is better at everything than Goff is, technically. I've just seen Brahimai fold under pressure, and Goff is a pure pressure fighter. So I'll go with the worst fighter who I know fights harder down the stretch. But it's like, that's a 50-50 toss-up to me. What would make Goff the biggest favorite on the card? I have no idea.
I think Oki was the biggest favorite on the card, but
was he? Okay,
second biggest. Yeah.
Second biggest, yeah. Still a wide favorite. This was a good wake up call for the gamblers that Billy Ray Goff is not that guy that you want to bet your house on.
No, and credit to Brahimai because he brought the pressure right away. Instant takedown, instant back take, making Goff work. And then Goff was like, all right, well, we're just going to hang out in the clinch and I'm going to try to do my own wrestling. And then that finishing sequence was beautiful. You know?
It was gorgeous.
Like, he was attack Bailey, switch to the ninja choke, switch to the high elbow, sleep.
Real Jones Machida stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
Just choke him out and drop him.
Did Goff tap or did he just go out?
I think he probably tapped on the way out, but I think it was on the off hip that wasn't facing the camera, so we didn't see.
So not technically a tech sub.
Yeah, but I mean, at least on Wiki it's listed as a tech sub. I'd give Brahimai the tech sub at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer to get the tech sub. It looked like a tech sub to me, which makes 2 tech subs on this god awful card.
Right,
which is insane. It's like there was like 7 minutes of fights worth watching on this entire fucking 5.5 hour stretch.
Yeah,
7 minutes.
Yeah,
I mean, the Gamrot, like I enjoyed it, but like I would never tell anybody to go back and watch it.
No, that's
7 minutes.
Yeah, no, this is the picture perfect. When you book a mediocre card, like, you know, the UFC loves that whole like, oh, we booked some dog shit, but that'll surprise you. It'll surprise you. It'll be great. You never know. You know, yeah, it looks like crap and we didn't try, but it could be awesome. That's like the motto the UFC's lived on for years.
Yeah.
And the thing with doing that is that when something does go wrong, when a bunch of people don't show up and overperform, then it is just really clearly terrible, you know?
And then the main event drops out.
Yeah.
3 minutes before. Perfect. Man, Dana's got to be pissed.
Yeah.
Well,
should be mad at nobody but himself. He put himself there.
No, you're right. You're right. But yeah, just 7 minutes, man.
Yeah, 7 minutes. Brahimai
followed by a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, Brahimai showed up though, then had his whole like Sylvester Stallone-esque post-fight speech.
Yeah, he went like full Jersey Shore with it.
Yeah.
It was, whatever. I thought he was gonna kiss DC.
He was glazing him hard. Yeah, no.
You know, I get it. The man's a killer. When he's winning, he is so much fun.
Yeah. Somebody asking if it was a Darce or an Anaconda. I think it was a ninja choke, wasn't it?
No, it was a high elbow guillotine.
It was a high elbow guillotine. Okay.
Jordan Levitt got the Anaconda earlier.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really can't say I care who Brahimai fights next. It's
no, not at all.
It's a welterweight division. There's nothing there.
We could just move on.
Yeah, let's move on to light heavyweight bout. Dustin Jacoby, Bruno Lopez, and
beautiful.
Man, I didn't think Jacoby still had this in him, honestly.
No.
I thought he was getting increasingly gun shy.
Yeah, increasingly passive.
That Petrino fight, I know he won by knockout, but it was a terrible fight.
Oh, he was losing every minute of that fight up until that knockout.
Yeah.
He kind of alluded to that in like his post-fight speech when he was talking about when he sees blood, he goes in for the kill. And it's like, well, what if you don't see blood?
Yeah. I think this was a case where Lopez was just lumbering and slow enough and walking in on him that Jacoby couldn't help but hit him. And when he hit him, he couldn't help but hurt him. And when he hurt him, he couldn't help but kill him. It was all the old instincts kicking in.
Yeah. It was a fucking jab that set everything up.
Yeah. Yeah.
The jab. And that's the thing, man. He's, former glory kickboxer. Like, the man can strike. He can bang. When he turns it on, he can bang.
Yeah.
And I needed this. Like,
oh, yeah.
The car was such a drag up until this point. Like, we had the Levitt, tech sub, and that was great. But I really needed this. And Lopez, I mean, he was fighting someone wildly more experienced than he was.
Yeah, although technically, I mean, it's not. I don't think they threw Lopez in over his head. He's just not good.
Well,
like he's in his early 30s. He's fought for a while. He's not like inexperienced. He's just not fought for the very high level.
He's nowhere the same the same amount of experience as Jacoby. Jacoby has been there with so much better opposition.
No, yeah. I'm not saying that he's not
glory fights, kickboxing fights.
Sure, but like you're fighting. You're a guy trying to make it on the right. You're in what should be the prime of your career for Bruno Lopez, fighting an old guy who's on the lower power end of light heavyweight and like kind of seems like he's on his way out. That shouldn't be too much of an ask. I just don't think he's got it. He's slow. He's a swinging cling fighter. You watch him regionally and it's like one big overhand, clinch up, hold a guy against the cage, then try and rinse and repeat. So
yeah, I think Jacoby's a little better than what you're alluding to, though. I think you're sleeping on him a little bit. Like the Alonzo Minifield fight, okay, you got me there. But everything else, Dom Reyes, his resurgence, right? Mirzakhanov, no shame there. Roundtree, split decision, like whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. Jacoby's not bad. He's just not like in a division where the top 15 is marked by like anybody that puts 3 wins together. He's no longer that guy. He's not a top 15 light heavyweight. So
I want to see him in a top 15 matchup.
Sure. Yeah, he can go back in there and fight. Bogdan Gushkov is booked.
No. Before you even say anything, I already have the fight picks.
Oh, okay.
Filet mignon.
Filet mignon. You know what? I would love that, but they booked Mignon with Johnny Walker.
That's evil.
Yeah.
When did that get booked?
It must have just happened. They're booked for UFC Fight Night 2. They're booked for the Shanghai card in August. So they booked that way out ahead. It's in fact the only card officially booked for that event. Or the only fight officially booked for that card. So
poor Johnny.
Yeah.
Is it? Is that the UFC website?
What?
Are you getting that from the UFC website?
No, I got it on. It's on Wiki.
Oh, okay. I don't see it on Tapology.
It must be maybe an unofficial announcement, but let's see. Otherwise, Jacoby is now like, yeah, he's one of the most experienced light heavyweights on the roster at this point. So, guess you could, you can really kind of stick him in there with anyone. Hey, Modestas Bukauskas just got a win.
It's not on the UFC website either. Did he though?
He got a win. He got enough of a win for me to put him in there with Dustin Jacoby.
I'd rather see him fight Kudalaba.
That's fine.
If they haven't fought already.
I think they have. Let me actually. My Dustin Jacoby lore is slipping. Yeah, they did. They fought in 2021 to a split draw. So time for a rematch, clearly.
Sure. Yeah, I think it might be fun.
All right. Otherwise, that brings us to women's featherweight bout. Ketlin Vieira, Macy Chason, and man.
Skip.
Yeah. If only, I just want to know what it is where, like, when a fighter has that switch flip, it has to be the worst feeling in the possible for a fighter when they suddenly start fighting really hard in the last 10 seconds and clearly start winning. It's just like, oh wow, if you'd done that any time in the previous 3 rounds, you might have won this fight. Like,
well, I kind of understand why it happened the way it did, because you see, she came out and she was trying to do the whole stick and move routine, you know what I mean, be on her bike, stay safe and elusive, but that really didn't work out for her because anytime they got close, she was getting cracked, right?
Yeah.
And then let's not forget that this was a featherweight fight because Ketlin was having issues with her weight, so she came in super heavy. Like, she was the much bigger person out here. And then, like, she just laid on her. What I don't understand is, like, why Macy kept trying to go for the takedowns.
Yeah, and why when she was on her back, whenever she would get a knee in between her and Vieira, she would then use it to start elbowing from the bottom and then go back to full guard. Like, she never kicked off, ever.
I don't think she could.
No, she clearly, when she got up at the end of that fight and started blitzing, that was because her coaches were screaming at her to get up because she had more than enough space, and she had to convince herself for like 20 seconds to get to her feet. And when she did, it worked fine.
I think it was just easier for her to get up after she split the wig with that elbow.
Yeah.
She landed that elbow that cut her from the back. And I kind of think that was her whole goal, was to just elbow from her back.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking, is that, like, she was comfortable being there. And it's just like when she actually just started going crazy because she finally realized she was just going to lose this fight. It's just like, man, you got to do that. Like,
I still, the botched takedowns at the beginning of the round, to end up on bottom, was so odd to me.
Yeah, that too. I mean, she's never been a fighter that's all that comfortable out at range. That's why I picked against her for this. I was just like, she's going to tie up with Vieira, and she's not going to end up on top. Chason's takedown defense is bad. And
yeah, no, I mean, she was kind of outgunned everywhere except
she was. I would say the positive side for this is the first fight in years where Vieira has looked comfortable striking again. She got knocked out. She got knocked out by Aldana way back in 2019. Yeah. And ever since then, she's been very gun shy. So this was one of the rare times where she just went out and she really sat down on stuff.
Yeah, for the first round. A ground snooze fest. She fucking. Well, I'm surprised the ref didn't stand it up.
Yeah.
That was hard to watch.
No, not a good fight. All right. For that, Zach Reese, Dushko Todorovich, and yeah, I mean,
this was.
Yeah, this is right idea versus wrong execution versus wrong idea, right execution. Todorovich has he has all the basic ideas of how MMA is supposed to work. He goes for takedowns, he gets top control, he's heavy with ground and pound, throws down standing. Everything I want to whoever coached him, I want dragged behind a horse, because everything is so sloppy and wild and unstructured. His defense is he locks his legs out when he's standing so that he's really immobile, and all of his punches are and he just shoots and he gets in on his knees and he doesn't push through on tape. It's a mess. But it's the right ideas. And then Reese, it's all oh yeah, there's some pretty clean techniques in there and some pretty solid fundamentals, and you just do everything at the wrong time.
He's so slow, and he got so tired.
He gets so tired. He jumps the guillotine. He only throws with power from his hips. Like he just
he put him going from the tie plum, like at the wrong time. Put him on his back here.
Yeah,
it's just a weird fight.
Really messy.
He's not great at anything.
No,
no. Very, very weird. I will say though, Reese's wrestling looked a little bit more improved.
Yeah, I mean,
he was able to stuff the takedown attempts.
I think Reese has a lot of the right technique. He just never knows when to deploy what, Well, it's just like, oh, somebody's in on my hip. I could stuff it, or I can jump a guillotine. Or you could not, I'll walk in and throw a rear hand uppercut every time. And it's like, yeah, or you could just jab. Why don't you jab? Like, your uppercut's not bad, but you're just going to leaving yourself open to get cracked every time, too.
And like his corner was stressing to him not to overswing like he was in the opening round. Overswing himself into bad positions. But man, Dusko, he made it interesting though, chasing after that guillotine with all his might. Like once he got the chin strap and got a hold of the chin, he was not letting it go. And I think that gassed him out a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the flip side was all that grappling gassed out Reese. So by the third round, they're just like, you go, okay, now I go, okay, now we'll smile and dap up. Now you go, then I go.
Two middleweights having a heavyweight fight.
Yeah.
All right. Earlier in the night, Alan Nascimento, Jafel Filio, and guy who only knows how to grapple from the top against a guy who's willing to grapple from his back. And it's just the battle of lost positions. That was pretty much. I personally think this fight should have been a draw. Not just because it sucked and was no fun.
Sure, the first could have been a 10-8.
Yeah. But Filio did the only real good offense of the fight with a very dominant first round. And after that, it's just like, okay, Nascimento got the sweeps and got position and won the rounds.
And missed weight. He was the big man out there.
Yeah. But Filio, he always gets tired. He's the rare flyweight that always gets tired. So that's always his problem.
Yeah, that is a massive problem. And being a flyweight grappler, I think, is a problem.
Exactly. Like being a dude where you are always going to have to scramble hardcore, and that's your game is going to be engaging that scrambling, and you always get tired. Like any fight that has gone past 2 rounds for him has always ended up with him getting horrifically tired by the end of it. Otherwise, Jordan Leavitt, though, he tied Kurt Holobaugh.
Of the evening.
Yeah. He put Kurt Holobaugh in a pretzel.
Had a flawless victory.
Yeah. Saw it coming, but it was still fun to watch. Holobaugh, man, that dude he is insanely easy to take down. Nothing in his game is made to keep him standing on his feet at all, which is for a dude who's all about like power brawling, standing up. I don't know.
No, he's clunky. He's definitely clunky. But man, that mat return, hit.
Oh yeah. That was
beautiful. Even his sequence, going for the ghillie, switching it to the anaconda, that was smooth.
Mm-hmm.
That was real smooth.
No, I love the funk in Leavitt's grappling game. He's got a real, it's not as nearly as practiced or smooth as like Ben Askren, but he's got a real funk flow to his game where just whatever
he's a better finisher than Ben Askren.
Yeah, well. But whatever position he gets in, he will find ways to fight to win out the grappling battle. It's really fun to watch.
For the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I like
how great the grappling is of Patty Pimblett and Chase Hooper.
Oh yeah, no, I mean they're better athletes and better grapplers. So I'm just saying, at the very least, leave it's always fun. Even when he's going to lose a grappling battle, it's a lot of fun to watch him lose that grappling battle too.
And what I love is how you would never think he was a fighter ever.
Yeah,
you hear him on the mic, you would never ever think, "Oh, this guy's a UFC fighter. This dude's
real
lethal."
Goofy guy. Please, DC, stop encouraging him to do other crazy dances. Especially because the one thing he came up with is the worm. Did we not learn the lesson from Johnny Walker? Come on.
That's the first thing that popped in my head. I'm like, no,
don't. Yeah. So
I guess I'd rather see that than him twerking, though.
Yeah. It's a small improvement, but an improvement. Let's see, we've got to find a grappler for him to match up with, though. So
let him fight Jim Miller. Let him fight Jim Miller.
Yeah, I'd do that. Could do Jim Miller, or could do Carlos Diego Ferreira. That'd be all right.
Like losing streak.
Yeah, well, I mean, Jim Miller's on a loss too, but
hey, you don't talk about Jim Miller like that.
Or let's see, there's got to be somebody else in here. Whatever. Something like that. That'd be fun. A lot of the other guys on this in there are not they're either really untested or not or just strikers. So just trying to
someone with zero grappling. That's cool too.
Yeah, there you go. You can book him against Borshov.
Oh yeah, Slavaklaus.
Yeah, Slavaklaus. There are fights out there for him. Otherwise, lightweight bout, Bellagioki, Michael Aswell, and I think Oki should probably take away from this that if he really felt confident that he was a big level above Michael Aswell, he's not. That he's a lot more physical, a lot more powerful, a lot more athletic, but this was a basic 1-for-1 trade fight all the way through. And it's really just the power that tipped the balance for Oki.
Yeah, I mean, they're different weight classes, right? Aswell fights down the division, and he took this on a couple days' notice or whatever the case. But I will say that credit to Aswell. He was doing a much better job at setting things up.
Yeah,
Oki was kind of just trying to bulldoze his way through the fight, but Aswell was just working his timing and just being the better timed fighter and picking his shots.
He was flicking his jab and fighting behind the jab, and Oki does this thing where every time he throws his right hand, he steps through it so that his body is totally square after he throws the right hand. And Aswell caught him a whole bunch of times entirely flat-footed and square and stumbled him pretty regularly in the fight and had Oki kind of stumbling after him or losing his balance and falling backwards. And, it's like I say, it's one of those things for Oki where it's like you should, what you should take away from this fight is that your footwork is really not clean, because you probably could have bulldozed this guy a lot more with the power edge that you had if you weren't constantly making yourself flat-footed and walking onto his shots.
I don't think he likes going backwards either.
No, I mean, I'm not even saying he has to going backwards. It's just don't square yourself up after you throw the right hand. Don't get yourself off balance to where you're stepping forward into the person, and when they hit you, you don't have a bracing leg behind you anymore,
Yeah, there's a lot to work on there. Like there's a lot of positives, but there are definitely holes.
Yeah. He's a good physical athlete. He's a good talent. It's really good to see him pressure as much as he did, because even when he was getting clipped, he kept the pressure on Aswell really heavy all the way through. So
first round he was a little patient with it. kind of sat back a little bit. But as the fight kept progressing, his pace was building. He was coming forward a lot more.
Yeah, so there's a lot of positives there. It's just, if he expected, I think he fought like he expected to go out there and just stomp Aswell. Like he was really swinging heavy on everything early and trying to put out like a blistering pace, and it just kind of got. You could see he kind of had to check that after the first couple of minutes because it's just like it's not working.
Yeah,
and I think he really thought he would just stomp him, and it's a tough fight.
Honestly, I see all the time. I see guys come in on short notice that have never been in the UFC and just perform.
Yeah,
and then kind of nosedive after that.
Yeah, they show up for that one big moment, and then it's like, okay, everybody gets a look at you. They start to know what to expect, and then you no longer have that surprise. You no longer have that big boost of adrenaline of like, oh, I'm gonna really grab the spotlight here. So,
and in Aswell's case, he cuts to 45, so he had a lot more energy. We'll say here at 55. Did that matter? Did that play a factor? We'll see.
Let me see what he does down the division. And then otherwise, I got to give some credit to Alice Ardeline, because not the prettiest fight out there, but she talked about it afterward, and it was very clear watching it that she has really dedicated herself to training like a pro. Like when she first got to the UFC as like a Instagram model / MMA fighter, she would basically gas within 2 or 3 minutes. And it was clear that she just was fighting on the I love to fight and scrap, so I'm just going to go out there and throw down with people and have fun, and I don't really care about it.
Yeah.
And she looked way more fit, and she pushed a ridiculous pace for all 3 rounds of this fight. And, she earned a legit win over Rayan dos Santos here, just pretty much purely through fitness and pace.
Honestly, I think the fight was won in the first round because Dos Santos comes out and she starts coming forward, throwing these looping combos, landing, but she wasn't doing much damage with them. Like they looked like they would hurt, but it didn't seem to have that much effect. And Alice just stood her ground and started firing back hard shots, and that kind of made Dos Santos back up. And she's like, "Oh, okay, we have some now. I can't just rush in. I got to be more selective." And I really feel like that was the tipping point. Those opening exchanges where Dos Santos realized she can't just go stand in the pocket and trade.
Yeah,
she's getting clipped.
But I mean, when she got the guts up to do it again in round 3 and stand in the pocket again, it did start going way better for her. Like, that was what she needed to do to stay in the fight. But she spent the first 2 rounds on the back foot, very clearly shying away from every exchange and like pulling back as she's punching, where it's like at that point you're taking your own steam off your shots, like
and moving yourself in a position where you can't continue to defend properly. That was another big thing. Alice was catching her just being sloppy, just being out of position. But good for Ardelion.
Otherwise, so, that wraps up the card. There were some fights that, like, you get back down deep in the prelims. There were some fights that were kind of fun scraps. Leave It was a highlight. Jacoby was a highlight. Brahimai was a highlight. Everything else. But, everything else, just, it was fine. The best other... I mean...
Fun.
Yeah. It was just a lame. It was a lame.
It was canceled. We had some duds.
Yeah, we're not going to be doing a bonus tonight.
That opening prelim with Dos Santos and Ardelion is like one of the better fights on the card.
Yeah. This is as a whole night for the UFC. This is a 1-star event.
I'm going 0.
You going 0? Yeah,
this is a 0. 2 tech subs and I'm giving it a 0. You didn't have a backup plan?
Yep.
0.
There were years past where even a fight night card would have had a stacked enough main card where losing the main event, you could still have a really fun fight night card. You know?
Sure.
You go back 10 years, that was the UFC. Today, no.
Nah, it's got to be a 0 for me.
Yeah.
They should have had a backup plan or something.
Yeah. All right, on that note.
I don't care.
Yeah. On that note, you can find me on Twitter at Zane Simon. You can find me on Substack and on Blue Sky over at Zane Simon. You can find Eddie on all platforms at the Eddie Mercado. And we aren't going to be doing any bonus stuff tonight, but you can subscribe and support the show over on Substack. The link down in the comments. Click that, go there, subscribe, help us out, keep the show running. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next time.